Hey out there, this is Friday, February 1st, 2019, and it is just about 7 minutes past 8 in the morning here in Northern California. Getting started a little earlier than usual. Had a rough night of sleep. I'm a little shaky at the moment, but I had this lower back injury last year, and I think I've upset it recently by slouching too much. But when you're young, your back is a lot more agile, and as you get older, it's a different story. So I've been taking ibuprofen for the pain, and it has given me a degree of relief because I was practically paralyzed recently with lower back pain. So it's been a little touch and go for me. My faith gets shaken at times like that. But one thing it does, it gets me back to praying and just realizing my own fragility and my mortality and how needy I am of a Savior to save me from this body of death, as we all do. And this is the good news. That's why the Bible is called the gospel. Gospel translated as good news. So the good news is that there is a loving God, an all-powerful, all-consuming God that loves us in a way that we can't understand. And we could spend every waking moment trying to understand, which would be a life well spent. But we will never fully understand. We're going to be spending eternity, this is my understanding, learning about how good God is and all the wonderments involved therein, and this grand mystery that we're involved in, this cosmic tapestry of life and light and love and goodness and just God is a good God, and as much as our faith can be shaken in very tangible ways, when you think, well, why would God allow me to experience such pain? I thought I was a good guy and his friend and servant and working for him and humanity. And hey, the sun shines on the just and the unjust alike, and the rain falls on the righteous and the unrighteous alike. It's just this is the way the story goes. It goes back to our ancestry. Something went terribly wrong to the point where God wished he didn't even create us. And that includes all the righteous people too. But he didn't give up on us. He did. He was very hurt and sorrowful. And it says in the scripture that he repented of having created us. So it was pretty serious, pretty dire, whatever had happened this fall in the Garden of Eden, the eating of the fruit of the forbidden fruit, and the knowledge of good and evil, and the curse, the subsequent curse that befell the earth, which explains all the negativity on the planet, from thorns on a rose to the predator-prey paradigm, to all these natural disasters and extreme temperature changes, and just anything bad is the only way to explain it, and to vindicate the name of God, the Creator God, at the same time. It's the only way I've ever been able to explain it in any kind of logical way. Okay, because it's not God's fault that we experience anything bad, and that needs to be made very clear. It's funny, at the moment my back isn't hurting me, which is really amazing because I have not been able to get into a comfortable position. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Laying down my face, laying on my back, sitting, standing. There's just been a sharp, throbbing, miserable pain that I've been experiencing. And it just produces more empathy in me for other human beings. I mean, how much do I want to judge? How do I want to condemn anyone? When knowing the kind of pain that can be inflicted and will be inflicted, I mean, everybody gets their share of suffering. Um, it's just the way it is, you're human, and you're gonna get your share of pain and a degree of suffering. At these 12-step programs, they've got a lot of cliche terms. Most of them I think are very true and apropos, but some of them I'm not completely convinced. I mean, there's gray area in certain areas. Terms can be subjective. For example, this idea that pain is a given. You're going to experience pain in your recovery, but the suffering is optional. So in other words, it's inferring that we kind of bring on our own suffering, that we allow ourselves to suffer. And I think that's really true to a degree. And we're often blinded to the ways we're producing suffering. I mean, when we seek escapism, advices, okay, and we run from things, okay, instead of dealing with them head on and saying, God, just give me the wherewithal, to deal with this in a way where I'm not running from it. I'm not running to some vice and trying to escape the reality, the horror, the trauma of facing the world on its face, prima facie, the world beast system, basically, that we all have to face, which is a lot worse than the natural suffering, the organic suffering we experience as humans, being mortal, getting diseases and dying. All this is from the original sin. Whatever went wrong, it was bad. And we could just be very grateful that God didn't give up on us and destroy. I guess, basically, our lineage would have been destroyed if he just said, no, that's it. But he's the potter and we're the pottery, so rightfully he could do that. But the point is, he didn't. But we've got a lot of crap that we've got to contend with being human, and there's no way around it for a lot of us. So for all of us, in fact. And, the best thing we can do is just to pray and ask God for help. Of course, being human, being frail and feeble and pitiable and pathetic often, we find ways to bring ourselves down because the world is such a downer, okay, contending with this system. And the system is so diabolical because the people ruling the system that are steering the ship of fools are diabolical. That's their religion. So to get even with them, not even to get a step ahead of these people, is a tremendous strain on the average human who doesn't think that way. They're not sick and twisted. They're loving and kind and want the best for their fellow man. They want to live and let live and forgive and forget and let bygones be bygones. And, let's not let this divisive spirit take hold and destroy our communities when we know it's emanating from on high. Okay, that's the best thing I can say to everybody. You want the best for your local community, then convince others of what's really going on. The fact is that the evil in your community is coming from on high. And namely, it is the top political leaders, okay? We're talking Congress and Senate. Obama, from what I'm understanding from Max Kaiser and Stacey Herbert on the Kaiser Report, that Obama was largely responsible for pushing through that bailout of '08. I never knew he was so instrumental in pushing that thing through. So Obama's a bigger traitor than I realized. We've just had one traitor as president after another. Baby Bush, 43. Okay, Slick Willie, 42. God help us. We are in so deep now, okay, with the banksters just running roughshod over us. It's these political leaders giving carte blanche authority, okay, over. They're just, hey, look, we all know these people are deferent to the Federal Reserve, okay, that's it. These are the money masters, the money printers. Okay, do you understand the wanton, vast, satanic power involved in this Federal Reserve Bank? It boggles the mind. How un-American is that? How were we warned by our foreparents? How were we warned? Which president was it that said, hey, you give these gangster bankster class, okay, carte blanche like this, you're going to wake up homeless in the continent that your forefathers conquered. Okay, that's where we're at now. and they're openly committing genocide by homelessness. And then I got to all day hear from these pseudo Democrats, pseudo liberals, pseudo Americans that I am a incompassionate, bad human being for not wanting border security. You know, and it's like a lot of this stuff went over my head even. I mean, you think, well, how could anything go over this guy's head? He seems to be on the ball. Hey, listen, any one of us can be blind. I mean, there's just they're attacking us from too many avenues. It's a multi-pronged attack on society, on civilization, on our culture, socially, politically, and economically. Okay, and the economics are imperative. They got to keep people off focus. They're twisting our focus on stuff to not realize it's all about economics. You want social cohesion, you want political cohesion, you want cohesion in your community, you want peace and justice and fairness. Okay, you want all those good things that a good American wants. And remember, the rest of the world's looking to us. It's imperative. I mean, Chico, where I am here, we could set an example for California. Okay, if we demand it, okay, we can get it. We can be empowered with the truth and heal our divide, unify, and then set an example for the state. And by extension, we're setting an example for the rest of the country, because as goes California, so goes the rest of the country. It's been said, and that makes sense. We're the cutting edge, leading the way. Okay, everybody thinks we're liberal and progressive here and all that crap. You know, true or not, they're just words. So I mean, you know, progress needs to sit down and define the word. Okay, liberal needs definition. So we need to sit down and really sort that out. Okay, what that means exactly, because I think they're good people. And I'm certainly not anti-democratic, but I think the Democrats from the 60s would be angry as hell at the Democrats of the, 2019, okay, and previous for decades. This has been going on. The Slick Willies out there, come on. Slick Willie and JFK, night and day. You know, one is a good patriot, nationalist, JFK, and one is a traitor, just a quisling, just a sellout, a betrayer, Slick Willie. Okay, Obama, what did he do? Poverty greatly expanded. I mean, I don't hear any of these people. People fawn over Obama. What did he do? Obamacare, they think, is so great. Do you know how many people that it hurt poor people? Do you understand? Whenever you have a tax that the poor also have to pay, that is a tax on the poor. It's just like looking at a needle. What's a needle that the poor get? It's this big freaking spike. And then, and then on for the middle class, well, it's a medium-sized spike for the middle class. And then for the wealthiest among us, it's just a little spike. It's just a little needle in the arm. Okay, when you've got a tax that affects everybody, do you understand? Unless you're doing a sales tax where it's just the highest end stuff, let's say. So, well, hey, if you're going to buy a new car, somehow, I mean, they could do it with a lottery. They could get the taxes. Do you understand? A Tobin tax, a lot more fair ways. But this socialism of today, they call socialism and liberalism and progressivism, is taxing the poor. And it's a horrible, miserable tax. And it creates hopelessness. It creates a higher cost of living. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're just debasing our currency through raising our cost of living.